Hey guys, welcome to the Real Rendezvous podcast. I'm Hunter. This is Brett. Brett, say hi.
Hey guys.
We are going to be discussing Sonic the Hedgehog from 2020 today on our podcast. And Brett, I believe you are more of the Sonic fan than I am, so I'm going to let you kind of lead off here. But don't start drooling already.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm very excited.
Just lead into it a little easy. Give me a little bit of some bone to chew on.
All right, I'll give you some bone to chew on. Okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog is a movie that released in 2020, fairly recently, about Sonic the Hedgehog, who is a video game character from the 90s. First game came out on the Sega Genesis. Long line of games. It's Sonic.
For a point of reference, and in my defense, the only one I ever played when I was still just a youngin' on my grind too. So if there's any Sonic diehards that listen to this, do not hate on me because of my lack of knowledge, please.
I played a good bit of them. Almost all, maybe, obviously some of the more obscure ones. Sonic Spinball. Never played Sonic Spinball, but mainline games, I played them. And it's they're good. Well,
I feel like that's an open debate itself.
Well, okay, yeah. Sonic is one of those characters that's
so like the original,
a little too good for the games he's in.
Oh, okay. The original, was the first 3 side scrollers or just the first 2?
The first 3. The first 3 were side scrolling platformers. And they're great. Classic Sonic's great.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
His jump into 3D was where it got a little rocky and where it has still been pretty rocky to this day. Sonic Frontiers, though, it's a new game. It's open world. It's coming out. It looks really good. So I hope it is.
Sonic 2, is that the one... Was Tails introduced in the very first game or in the sequel?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Tails was introduced in Sonic 2 as the second player character.
Then Knuckles was 3, right?
Yes. Well, okay. Yes, yeah. Knuckles was introduced in Sonic 3. He also had his... There were 2 separate games. There was Sonic 3, and then there was Sonic and Knuckles. But they were 2 cartridges. They could connect to each other. So the Sonic 3 cartridge had a cartridge slot on top of it.
I got you.
That you would put Sonic and Knuckles into to create the game that is Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Creative.
Yeah, no. It was called Lock-On Technology. They made a logo for it and everything, and those are the only games they ever used it for.
I think shit like that's hilarious whenever you talk about like old consoles and like, you remember this might be slightly before your time, but you remember the like Nintendo 64 Rumble packs? Yep. Like to get vibration on your controller, you had to buy a goddamn pack for it, which is funny because like I don't even notice it on like playing my Xbox or my PlayStation nowadays.
Yeah, but to be fair, Rumble is one of those things that like when you have it, you don't super notice it, but when it's not there, it's noticeable.
Is that something like you can voluntarily deactivate in a game?
Yeah. Most games have an option for Rumble on or off.
Not in a game, in a console. Oh, okay, yeah. No, never mind. Each individual game you can turn it on or off.
Yeah, most of them.
I was thinking it's just like a general setting on the console. But
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You're probably right, though. It's probably one of those things that's like not a problem, but whenever you're playing without it, it is a problem. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting a little sidetracked here talking about games. We should probably go back to the movie that we're going to review.
It is a video game movie, so we're still technically not off topic.
Yeah, you're right. So like you said, this came out in 2020. Hold on, let me pull something up here to get a little more info on it. I believe you said this made $1 billion.
Okay, that's not the actual number. That's hyperbole. I don't know if that's actually how much. I know it made a lot of money. I don't think it hit $1 billion.
It had a pretty big budget. $85 million. Jesus,
okay,
they threw all kinds of money at this thing.
Not quite $1 billion, but it did get up there.
And its opening weekend, it made $58 million. Which is, I mean, honestly, that's pretty modest for a video game movie adaptation because usually they fucking suck.
Yeah, about 1,000 of those dollars are mine. I saw this movie 6 times in theaters.
Oh, man, that's crazy to me.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, probably.
Okay, so its gross, though, worldwide was $319 million.
Okay.
And domestic, it was $148 million. So still pretty good return.
Yeah, definitely nothing to scoff at.
This was released in February of 2020, so, excuse me, almost 2 years ago. Yeah, and you said you saw it 6 times.
I did. I saw it 6 times in theaters, including opening night, obviously.
Yeah. This was directed by Jeff Fowler. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Jeff Fowler.
And he doesn't have a catalog. This was something we were discussing prior to hitting record.
Most of the stuff he's known for is actually his special effects work. He did special effects for Where the Wild Things Are, as well as a few other sort of those.
I think that shows in this film, too.
Yes. He's very good at blending, for the most part, he's very good at blending animation with live action.
I know earlier when we discussed prior to recording, that's kind of a pro and a con for me. But I definitely think it's more of a pro, his ability to, I don't want to say create animation, but for lack of better words, create animation.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
And the only other movie he directed, or that he's credited as directing, is an animated feature from 2004. I've never heard of it until looking him up. What's it called? Gopher
Broke.
Gopher Broke. If anyone out there's seen Gopher Broke, let us know how it is. It's a short.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's only a 4-minute short. It looks cute. I mean, it's got a goofy.
It's probably one of those
gopher
that plays before Disney movies or something.
Look at this guy's teeth.
Yeah.
Look like mine. Well, I guess gophers have big teeth. That's stereotype. That's archetype. That's archetype. Character archetype.
Gophers having big teeth?
Yep. So this movie has a sequel quickly approaching.
April, isn't it? Is it April 8th?
You tell me, buddy.
I'm 90% sure it's April 8th.
Okay, hold on. I'm pulling it up here. Maybe. Yes, April 8th.
Yes.
So, of course, Brett, the fanboy, knows. You're pretty excited for this.
Oh, man. Come on.
It does look good.
Idris Elba as Knuckles? Good. Come on.
Idris Elba.
Inspired casting.
I could, I'm drinking a Monster Energy can, and you could create a whole movie based around this can. If Idris Elba did the voice of this can, I would watch it.
Idris Elba, I don't think... Does he do a lot of voice work? Has he voiced animated characters before?
Not that I know of, but I'm just saying the dude's got a...
Oh, no, for sure.
Great
No.
voice.
I know. I'm trying to think. Because everything I've seen him in has been live action. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of him doing a voice for anything.
No, you're probably right. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Most recent thing I've seen him in is the Suicide Squad.
Right. Another great movie. Shout out James Gunn.
Oh, fan. We will definitely have to cover that.
That's our thing. You got to say shout out.
No.
Yeah, shout out.
Well,
James
you already
Gunn.
hit it.
You got to back me up on it though. Say it twice.
Oh, okay. Shout out James Gunn.
Shout out James Gunn. There's a third time.
We love us some James Gunn out here at the Real Rendezvous.
Yeah, that's a fact. So this movie was it surpassed my expectations slightly. I kind of knew it was going to be okay at least because you drool all about it and talk about how much you love it, but I hadn't really seen anybody really like tear it apart critic wise or anything.
No, it got very decent reviews when it first came out.
Yeah, like I said, I don't remember anybody ripping it to shreds, and this was my first viewing for this the sake of recording this podcast and this review, and I enjoyed my time with it.
This is probably my 30th viewing overall.
I mean, just to give a general idea of what my opinion was before we get into the meat of things here, I did enjoy my time with it, and viewing it through like the glasses of it's a family film, I would definitely suggest if you got like some young kids between the ages of like 6 to 10, they would love this. I know that if I was young and I watched this, I would this would be on repeat at my house whenever I was a kid. If I had on like a VHS tape, like I'd burn up the rewind machine. I can't remember what you call them, or rewinder. I don't know, but I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yeah, I as we've been discussing, full disclosure, if you're gonna take away like an accurate depiction of how good this movie is, you're definitely gonna listen to Hunter's points more than mine. I have a terrible bias for both this character and then of course by extension this movie that I wear completely on my sleeve. I know for a fact that it you know, if I wanted to, I could go through and I could find negatives to point out objectively speaking. But like this, I just, you know, it's hard for me to do that just because I love the stuff I love about this movie is just so overwhelmingly just like, I love it that I just...
You know, I think that's one thing that we're going to have ad nauseum in this podcast anyway, because, you know, right off the bat, we say that we want to review stuff that we like.
Yeah,
so, hey, we're probably not going to have too many movies that we just flat out hate, you know, unless it's one that I strongly suggest and it's your first viewing, or vice versa. So that's all right. You know, we're here for nostalgia. We're here for the vibes, the feels, you know, like... I'm sure that the next thing that we review, if it's something I pick, I'm going to ooze about it. So
yeah, that's how it goes.
Even though I poke fun and make a joke or two at you, you ooze away, pal.
Yeah. Just to put it into perspective, like I said, I saw this movie 6 times in theaters while it was running.
Every time you say that, it gets funnier.
Yeah, I know. Well,
it literally does. That's not me being a smartass.
I own this movie. 4 different mediums, 3 of them being digital. I have the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. I also own it digitally on my phone, just using the Movies Anywhere app, which, you know, usually nowadays when you buy a physical copy of the movie, it comes with a free digital copy. So I have that. I bought it on my PlayStation, on the PlayStation Store to watch on my PlayStation. I also own it through Google Play, which means I can watch it on YouTube whenever I want.
You know, whenever we've had conversations in the past about you getting a potential tattoo, maybe I mean, you might need
Sonic's 100% in the running.
Might need to get a Sonic tattoo.
He's up there. He's like,
I mean,
right below.
Now that you're stating all of the obvious facts, you probably ought to get one.
I also own a 5 foot tall styrofoam custom made standee.
Dude, that thing's tight. That thing's tight though.
Oh, no, I love it. It's awesome.
I mean, you see all my
It might be the coolest thing I've ever bought.
Yeah,
you can just do that. Like, there's a company, like, some of them won't let you do
cutouts.
Yeah, some of them won't let you do copyrighted material. But like, if you find one that does, you can send them any picture. Like, you could get one done of you and Alyssa. You just send them any picture.
Keep your voice down. Or you'll come home and see a picture of me and Alyssa like, cuddling.
And the site I used, you could choose like material. They had one that was like cardboard, and then the foam board that I got mine done in. It's awesome. You can choose the custom size.
Is the foam board like a superior material, or
I'm not sure.
Cheaper?
It just looks nicer.
I got you.
Because it's got more of a glossy shine instead of just like printed cardboard. Like, you know, you've seen standees that are made of cardboard versus.
I actually have one that TJ, your cousin TJ, gave me long time ago from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Well, from where he drives the truck for Pepsi.
Yeah.
There was a promo.
I remember that promo.
They put out with like TMNT. I have it laying around here somewhere. I don't know what
That's
I did
awesome.
with it.
We should watch those movies.
You know,
I'm a defender of those films.
They're not great, but they're not bad, man.
They're not terrible.
Honestly, I think the second one's better than the first.
I would say, the second one is better than... because the second one's just more self-aware than the first one. The first one went for a gritty, more serious tone, which didn't really work out.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Except for that elevator scene. That'll always be the best thing.
You know why I like the second one probably better?
Bebop and Rocksteady?
No. Oh. Although they are cool. Come on, who's the character introduced in the second one?
Oh, Kang. What?
I'm leaving.
What?
I literally have
Casey Jones.
I literally have Casey Jones hanging on my wall.
Sorry, I forgot about Casey Jones. I'm sorry.
You know,
wasn't he Stephen Amell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny, but it worked. It was all right. You know, it wasn't that bad. I would like a dark long-haired stud to be Casey Jones, but short-haired stud works too.
Yeah.
But there's a IDW Comics. They have like all the rights to TMNT now, and I've been very close to buying like a couple omnibuses. I haven't yet, but you know, I still got like a whole shit ton of things to read.
I often forget they started as comic characters. Going back to Sonic.
Yeah, we're getting sidetracked here.
Hey, man, I think it adds charm. I think it's good.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it.
Every podcast I listen to, they do it.
Yo, you got to have a little bit of tangent.
So,
keep it interesting.
Just to touch base on a couple things here before we get into the synopsis and the plot, the cast. There's not a whole lot to the cast other than basically 3 characters. Ben Schwartz voices Sonic. James Marsden is Tom. He's kind of like our, introductory or portal character to the world of Sonic. And then, of course, the greatest of all time, Jim Carrey, portraying Eggman, Dr. Robotnik.
Hunter's a very large Jim Carrey fan.
Yeah, I have this special place in my heart for Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and The Mask. I really love Jim Carrey's style of over the top. I don't want to call it slapstick. It kind of is.
I would call it slapstick.
It's like
which isn't a bad thing, but that's what I would call it.
It's like he's the human cartoon. I don't really know how to describe it better than that. He's a one-trick pony, but that trick is a touchdown every time.
Oh, for sure.
So I love Jim Carrey so much. If Jim Carrey ever listens to this, please send me an autograph. To Hunter, your biggest fan. But anything you want to touch base on there with the cast real quick? James Marsden was Cyclops.
James Marsden was Cyclops. In those original X-Men movies, James Marsden was Cyclops. He has a history of playing the straight man to an animated anthropomorphic talking animal. If anyone out there has seen there were two of them, either of the Hop movies. I'm not the biggest fan of the Hop movies. I don't think they're very good, but
can't say I have seen either.
James Marsden is the human friend character to the son of the Easter Bunny in those movies.
That just doesn't sound like a premise I would be interested in.
Yeah, they're kind of weird. He was in Is it called Enchanted? The movie where the Disney princess comes to the real world.
He was the prince.
Yes, he was.
That movie was all right.
I liked it.
I can remember watching that when it came out. I had younger sisters that were really into that when it came out.
I get Enchanted and then Ella Enchanted confused.
Now, Ella Enchanted
quite often
is awesome. The rewatchability of that movie is through the roof.
I don't actually remember the plot to Ella Enchanted.
It's okay. I'm not going to get on here and talk about Ella Enchanted's plot, but it's a good movie. Very meta. Speaking of meta, me and my wife went and watched Scream earlier today, and we enjoyed it. And it's very meta. But Ella Enchanted is very meta. Knows what it is, and it's another one of those movies that's made for kids, but a lot of jokes would go over kids' heads, and like adults would understand. So if you ever get the chance, you should watch it.
I will.
And Anne Hathaway is a dime. I think she's so beautiful. Sometimes I tell Alyssa she looks like Anne Hathaway, and she gets mad.
I have a friend who actually exactly 1-to-1 looks exactly like Anne Hathaway.
Really? Well, she must be pretty because I think Anne Hathaway is so pretty.
But in terms of Ben Schwartz, voice of Sonic, I can't speak English. I had some reservations when he was first cast, because I was following the development of the movie as soon as it was announced, and I had a few reservations because I've never heard of him before Sonic, before he was cast to play Sonic, and I was mostly just a little annoyed that it wasn't just like the guy they had doing Sonic in the games at that time, who I cannot remember for the life of me his full name. His name has the word Chris in it. Can you look it up for me real quick? Okay. So that I can
continue to ramble there.
Properly shout him out. Shout out guy who voices Sonic whose name has Chris in it. But I was a little annoyed that it wasn't him. But then the movie came out. The trailer came out. And then the movie came out, and I realized, I think Ben Schwartz might now be my definitive Sonic voice.
What would the game be that he voiced Sonic in?
I think he started voicing Sonic in. I could be wrong. Sonic Colors. I don't know if he started with Sonic Colors, but you can look that one up. That he played Sonic in that.
Okay, I'm looking here.
But and the reason they recast was because this Sonic is portrayed as a much younger character than the Sonic from the games.
Roger Craig Smith.
Okay, not Chris. Craig. Roger
there was
Craig
a C
Smith.
in there. There was a
shout out Roger Craig Smith, who also voices Ezio. For if anyone needs a frame of reference from the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, he's right there.
Franchise.
He also does Batman and Batman Arkham
Origins,
Arkham Origins,
which is fantastic. He's so good in that game.
I never played that one.
It's really good. People rag on it a lot because Rocksteady didn't do it, but I think it's a very solid entry.
I heard it really
Unpopular opinion. It is my favorite Arkham game.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I heard it's really, really underrated.
It is super. But Roger Craig Smith plays more of an older Sonic, like 17, 18, I think is what he's supposed to be in the games. And then in this movie, he's 12, 13. Around that. They don't say it explicitly, but the director said it, I think, in an interview one time.
I think you definitely get that vibe from watching the movie anyway.
But Ben Schwartz plays that so well, and he might be my definitive Sonic voice now. Because it just like now when I see something of Sonic talking, I hear Ben Schwartz's, and he doesn't even really do a voice. Like like when you hear a character who Ben Schwartz voices, you know it's Ben Schwartz. Excuse me. He was in the Lego Movie 2 as a banana, and most recently he was in the DuckTales reboot as the blue one, the blue twin. I think
I'm
Dewey. Dewey is the
Dewey Duck.
Yes, he plays Dewey in the DuckTales reboot, and he's great all the way around. He's very funny. He has, and I meant to tell you this in the car on our way here. He has an improv special with oh God. Another dude whose last name I think is like Malkowitz or something. Middleditch, yes. What's his first name?
I don't know. I just saw Middleditch and Schwartz.
Middleditch and Schwartz. It's on Netflix. It is a 3-episode improv show
Thomas
he put on
Middleditch.
with Thomas Middleditch.
This guy looks familiar.
It is like gut-bustingly funny. You have to watch it. It is maybe one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's really good.
And you said it's a stand-up thing?
Yeah, it's an improv show.
Okay.
Like they take suggestions for scenes from the crowd and then they perform it.
That's cool. That's cool.
And they do it just so well. So
I recognize that guy. He's got one of those faces that he's like just always a background character actor, like always in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, definitely check those out. Super funny.
You know, Ben Schwartz has a pretty decorated like he's a war hero.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty big list of voice acting.
Yes,
here.
yes, that's his
Teenage
medium of
Mutant
choice.
Ninja Turtles.
Yes, he plays Leonardo.
Yeah.
Yes,
he's been in Robot
lots
Chicken.
of blue characters in his repertoire.
Bob's Burgers. I mean, he's BoJack Horseman. Some of these aren't like huge roles. It's just like 3 or 4 episodes, but there's the Lego movie you spoke of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to check out more of his stuff.
And before
he is great voicing Sonic.
Yes, he does a really good job.
Not that I'm like some huge guy that had huge expectations for what Sonic's voice should sound like, but just the charisma that Sonic's character has, it fits. Mm-hmm. It fits.
Before I pass this over to Hunter to gush about his boy, I'm gonna let him handle that because that's his man right there. I would also like to touch on just real quick. I think Tika Sumpter did a very good job as Maddie. She's not in it a lot. She's not in it a ton. But she carries herself well with the rest of the cast when she is there interacting.
I don't want to make any comments about Tika Sumpter because I'm just going to sound thirsty after already talking about how pretty Anne Hathaway is.
It's very pretty.
Tika Sumpter
is very pretty.
For lack of better words, is another beautiful woman. So, and she's a good actress too. This is the only thing I've ever seen her in.
I cannot tell you anything else she's been in. I know that she has been in other stuff, and I'm sure she's great in it. I personally just haven't seen any of it. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie is my only exposure to Tika Sumpter.
Yeah, I looked up her...
But she does a really good job.
I looked up her acting credits and stuff whenever I watched this last week, and off the top of my head, I can't remember anything specific. I'm sure she's been in some stuff, but...
yeah.
You're talking about gushing about my boy.
Yeah,
we're talking about Jim Carrey.
Oh, of course. You take us away into that.
This is all I'm going to say. I don't want to sit here and ramble about Jim Carrey because we'll dive into the plot here.
Yeah.
But most of the things I love about Jim Carrey don't really stem from this film specifically. It's just like I said earlier, he's a one-trick pony, but it's that one trick that he does is a home run. His over-the-top, like, animated body movements and stuff. I don't know if it's just, like, that childish sense of humor that I've always had, but I just think it's hilarious. I love Ace Ventura. I love The Mask. I love The Grinch. He's great in that. Whenever I was young, and not to take the podcast to a low moment here, but when my mom passed away when I was young, and I was like, I had different people that always babysat me. One of them, my cousin Jacqueline, she always had me and my sister Haley watch Liar Liar, which I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Never seen Liar Liar.
The plot is Jim Carrey is like this really, really great like defense attorney, but he's good because he lies a lot.
Oh.
Well, his son makes a birthday wish that he wishes for one whole day his dad couldn't tell a lie, and like shenanigans ensue. Like this guy's whole career is based around lying, though, so like his whole life starts falling apart. But it's really funny. Liar, Liar, if you get a chance, check it out. He's also great in Bruce Almighty. Have you ever seen Bruce Almighty?
I've not seen a ton of Jim Carrey movies,
He gets
honestly.
the powers to become... He becomes God. Yeah, it's really funny. It's as funny as what you think you can think of.
That sounds awesome.
And Dumb and Dumber actually is lower on my list of Jim Carrey totem pole movies.
I think I tried to watch the sequel, and I turned it off.
That doesn't even have him and Jeff...
What? Yeah, it did. Maybe it wasn't the sequel then. No, because it was like the new one.
Okay, was there's a second sequel then?
Yeah, they made like a look. I could be completely wrong, but I swear I thought
no,
they made.
You might be right because I know that there's.
Because it came out like 2018.
I think you're right because there's a Dumb and Dumber When Harry Met Lloyd. Yeah, and that one's not funny. Dumb and Dumber 2, but it's spelled T-O because they're idiots. But yeah, you're right.
And that came out
2014.
That's the one I watched,
and that's got them.
And I turned it off halfway through.
Yeah, I've never seen that one, but yeah, I watched Dumb and Dumber recently, the original, and it was funny, but I didn't get the big appeal for why it was held in such high regard as this really funny movie.
The only Jim Carrey movie I've actually seen all the way through that was like a Jim Carrey movie that like he's the star of. I wouldn't even consider he didn't even really play like his archetype in that one. It's Yes Man.
Oh, really?
It's a great movie. Yes, it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, but he's very much less Jim Carrey in Yes Man than he is in everything else.
Hey, you want to talk about a movie with a lot of heart? Yes Man's got a lot of heart.
It does. Yes Man has a lot of heart.
Bruce Almighty is very similar. It's like Yes Man is almost like Bruce Almighty Part 2, to be honest.
I really want to see The Truman Show. I just always forget to watch it.
Yeah, so that's the other great thing about Jim Carrey. I said I wasn't going to gush about him, but here we are like 5 minutes into talking about Jim Carrey. He, the dude actually has some pretty good acting chops. I've never seen Truman Show, but like, didn't it win like some Academy Awards or something?
Probably.
I don't know, but I know like it was just like a highly touted, well-reviewed film. Critics loved it when it came out. I think it came out like 2001 or something.
Yeah. What's the thing he says? In case I don't see you.
He also played in
Good Morning, Good Evening, and Good Night, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head. Hold on a second, but he also played in another movie around that time where it was I want to say it's called something about the moon. He was portraying a real life comedian who I think committed suicide. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The Majestic, I remember that movie getting really good reviews too. Man on the Moon. Yeah, he portrayed Andy Kaufman, the life and career of legendary comedian Andy Kaufman. And he's got acting chops, not just a funny man. So, but anyways, that's enough about my guy Jim Carrey. Do you want to? Is there anything else you want to touch base on prior to getting into here, or you want to let me butcher the synopsis and we'll get into the review?
No, let's jump into some plot.
All right. So the film opens, and I'm going to try and dip through this like a little bit differently and not read it verbatim like what I did for
one of my friends. Like I told you earlier, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
It just reminded me of when I was telling you earlier that I know this movie like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
One of my friends one time asked me what the plot was, and I hadn't seen it in like a month. I was watching the movie in my head.
Yeah.
And then they were like, Jesus, how do you just know all that off the top of your head? I'm like, I'm watching it right now.
It's like you close your eyes and like the Star Wars crawl starts, but it's the Sonic crawl.
It's the entire Sonic
It's like the
movie.
Sonic synopsis rolling down your eyelids.
It really is. It's a problem.
I would say, like, go ahead and rattle it off, but I don't want to put you on the spot here and give you the opportunity to stumble. But you can jump in at any moment here and lead me to water. But anyways, so the movie starts off with we're in San Francisco, and it says here a normal day is interrupted by a shocking spectacle. We're introduced to Sonic, and he's running through the city, which this is a really cool scene just to open the freaking movie.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, full throttle.
Yeah.
Sonic pounding through the city, bouncing off of shit like the games, and he's got Dr. Robotnik hot on his tail, keeping up with him beat for beat, trying to shoot him. And so during this chase, it pauses, and it's like what's that show? Everybody Hates Chris, where it's always like does like the pause and it's like, this is how we got here.
I bet you're wondering how I got in this situation.
Yeah, so that's what Sonic basically says. Ben Schwartz talks as Sonic and says, so let's jump back a minute and I'll explain myself and how we got here. So he goes back to a brief origin story here. I don't want to say origin story because it's literally like a 5-minute segment, which I love about this movie. That's one of my biggest pros about this movie is it is an origin story, but it's not. It touches base on who he is really briefly, and then you're thrown right into the middle of his life. Here on Earth. But he recalls his childhood days living on a beautiful island, and does he say what this is called?
It's Green Hill Zone.
Okay, well, I was just wondering, because he ends up in Green Hills, Montana. Yeah. So I just wanted to not mess that up.
Yeah, no, it's the real Green Hill Zone.
And he's running around his treehouse, and his surrogate mother, Longclaw the Owl, she's in there. She's talking to him. She tells him that he has special powers, and he needs to draw back the reins a little bit because people are always going to want to come after him for his special powers. Sonic affectionately presents her a sunflower, and then they're ambushed by a tribe of... what are these people, Brett?
The Echidnas.
Echidnas?
It's what Knuckles is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the race that Knuckles is.
I did not know that. They look badass.
Yes. The Echidna tribe.
Yeah, so they attack, and a chase ensues here. While Longclaw and Sonic are running, she gets shot.
Yes.
With an arrow.
Yeah.
In the heart. I don't know if it was in the heart. I'm assuming it's a fatal wound, though. So with that, she gives Sonic the bag of golden rings, and these rings open portals.
Yes.
Okay, so she gives him these rings and says that these are the places. Does she give him a map or?
Yes. It's a little diagram of all the different worlds.
And she tells him these are the safe places to go. Whenever one becomes unsafe, go to the next. And she sends him to Earth right off the bat, right?
Yeah, she's like, that one.
And so then he gets sent into Earth, and we jump 10 years later after this whole scene happens, and he's already adjusted to life on Earth. And this is where we're introduced to James Marsden's Tom. Tom is the local sheriff of Green Hills, Montana, which I love that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And like, there's not really... I've never been to Montana, so I don't want to shit on Montana, but it seems like a boring state.
You just asked Tom at the speed trap. I mean, it seems...
Yeah. So that's literally what it says here, too. Tom is sitting bored in a empty speed trap waiting for cars, and Sonic, he comes out and playfully starts messing with him, running past, and then coming up behind Tom to see what the radar gun's reading. He's hitting like 290, 300. And
298, I think exactly is what it was.
Well, he does it 2 or 3 times, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He runs by it a couple times.
The first time it's 298. I don't remember the second time, but like the last time he does it, he's like 350.
Yeah, I feel like he did hit over 300.
Yeah.
So whenever this is happening, Tom discovers one of Sonic's blue quills lying in the grass and brings it with him. He's called away by secondary character Wade, the deputy of Green Hills, for something stupid, and that's like kind of like a recurring...
A duck stole a bagel.
Yeah.
They do need it back, though.
That's a recurring like joke in the whole movie is this Wade guy's a dumbass, and there's always like things that he can't handle, like trivial things he doesn't know how to do, which is funny. So Sonic, after Tom gets called away, there's a turtle crossing the road that actually Tom had the speed gun on. Mm-hmm. Sonic saves it, and he takes it. That's a funny scene. Whenever he takes off running with it and sits it on the ground, it's like shaking from like after it's gone on like breakneck speeds. Yeah. And then we're introduced to Sonic's living quarters. Which, so is it a cave? Is that what it was?
It's like a hole in the ground that leads to like a little cave. Well, he calls it a cave.
Don't hedgehogs live in holes in the ground?
I believe they do.
Like real life hedgehogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a real hedgehog.
An old friend of mine has one. Wait,
that's a lie. That's a lie. My younger sister Aubrey used to have one.
Yeah.
And it was cute.
I've always wanted a hedgehog.
Yeah, they're cute.
Just little spiky guys.
I wonder at like what point. So Sonic they were a mainstay character from Sega. What Japanese person thought hedgehogs were really fast?
He was originally a rabbit.
Oh, okay.
He started out as a rabbit.
Well, rabbits are fast, so that makes sense.
He sort of just somewhere along the line, they were like, what if he was a hedgehog?
At what point did are hedgehogs even native to Japan?
I don't know.
Man, that's something I really should have looked up before the podcast.
Well, are hedgehogs native to this? I almost said state. The nation of Japan.
So anyways, we're introduced to Sonic's home here. Is a little makeshift hole in the ground house, and he's got all kinds of cool shit. He reads comics. He's got the ping pong down there. He's got all kinds of stuff going on down there. And then
lots of Easter eggs going on down there.
Do you want to touch base on any Easter eggs right now?
Just real quick. The biggest one is that his ping pong table is a sign for Hilltop Road, okay. Which is a reference to Hilltop Zone from Sonic 2.
I get that one a little bit.
Yeah,
I got that one. So he really likes his life. He kind of like narrates here, talking about like all the things he loves about being in Green Hills. He talks about Tom and how Tom's his favorite person in Green Hills. He doesn't know him as Tom though. He refers to him as Donut Lord, which I think
Donut Lord,
like that's funny as hell. And the only person like around Green Hills that has seen Sonic is this hobo who calls him the Blue Devil, and nobody believes him. They think he's just like a drunk hobo.
Easter egg shout out number 2. Crazy Carl is his name. His drawing of Sonic is a basically beat for beat creation of the meme Sonic, which is a poorly drawn. I think it was done by like an 8-year-old. A poorly drawn picture of Sonic. Yeah, they call him Sonic because he looks kind of funny. And there's like fan games and stuff made about him.
Is that like?
And that's what that art was that Crazy Carl holds up is Sonic.
I can't say I've ever seen this meme. So is that kind of like the Spoderman? Like
yes, yeah, that's style? Exactly what it is. It's the Spoderman for Sonic.
Like the like goofy Mickey Mouse. Like,
yeah. I did look it up. Hedgehogs are not native to Japan.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
They have no offense to the hedgehogs, but they have way cooler native mammals there. Is a hedgehog a mammal? It's not National Geographic. Never mind.
Yeah, I think they're marsupials just for reference.
I'm getting too crazy here with dumb questions. So anyways.
Our hedgehog lore. Shout out hedgehogs.
Shout out hedgehogs. Hedgehogs are cool animals. Very cute. And, can be domesticated. Like I said, my sister had one. It was precious. So anyways, he seemingly loves his life here. He has fun doing all kinds of stuff, running around. He's fast. He can do anything. But like we said earlier, whenever Longclaw gave him these rings, if he ever gets discovered, he's supposed to portal somewhere else. Because then if he's discovered, people will discover his power. Like she said at the beginning, anybody with great power like that, people are always going to want to steal it, want to take it, want to use it for their own gains. So he hates the idea of leaving, though, because he loves Green Hills so much. And then we're at a scene where he's watching the baseball game, and then the game's over. And so he decides to go out there and play by himself. Mm-hmm. So he can run so fast that he can literally throw the ball to himself, hit the ball to himself, all this. And I can't remember exactly how it like falls apart. Does he
hits
a home run
and he starts trying to celebrate with his friends, but it's just him.
That's
so
right.
He realizes that
he can't high
he's
five
alone
anybody
in this world.
So when this happens, he realizes how alone he is, and out of frustration, he just starts running the bases. And he runs basically in a circle. Really, it's a diamond because it's a baseball diamond, but he runs in a circle so fast that it
he has a bit of an energy surge.
Yeah, and now that's just caused from the immense electricity coming off of his speed.
It seems to be emotion based in the movie. For reference, he doesn't really do that in the games. He doesn't have like a super. He has a super powerful form called Supersonic, but that's via Master Emeralds, and
I got you.
That's probably what they're going to delve into in the second movie. But I think for this movie, I think it's just an emotion based thing. Because we'll get to it later, but at the end, his emotions spike again, and then it happens for another time.
So whenever he's running these laps at breakneck speeds, and he has this emotional based energy surge, great words, Brett. It blows out all the power, and like it was like the whole like northwestern seaboard. Like he basically like took out all the power. So, and at this point, we jump to a scene with the Pentagon and the National Guard discussing what caused this huge power outage, and they begin to speak of it like it's a terrorist attack or something. As they're having this discussion, the Department of Defense, what is the guy's name? It doesn't matter. The head of the Department of Defense suggests to bring in a really smart developmental. Trying to think of a better way to describe him, but I'm just going to say a professor. He says that he needs to bring in Dr. Robotnik to investigate this energy surge. And everybody else is against it. They're like, no, this guy's a freak. We don't want him involved. But against the urgings of everybody else, the Department of Defense brings in Dr. Robotnik to investigate. Robotnik and his surrogate, Agent Stone, come in to Green Hills, and they take over the military establishment there, and they start to investigate. And as soon as Jim Carrey like steps off of his like evil genius HQ Mack truck, you just like instantly are like, yeah, he's perfect for this role.
Oh, for sure.
Like I was saying briefly at the beginning of the podcast, like this is a kid's movie, you can tell. But with that said, I just think Jim Carrey's hilarious. I would laugh at this. I know my dad, like even if my dad watched it, he would laugh at Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah,
just because of his like animations, and he's just like, I think at one point he like makes fart sounds with his mouth, and I just think that's funny. Like
when he's talking to Tom, and he's like getting together with the boys, playing in the jug band.
yeah, that's hilarious, and that's part of like Dr. Robotnik's like character is he's just wickedly arrogant.
He makes fun of hanging with the boys twice. And like these small town sort of like redneck stereotypes. It's like, hang out with the guys, put a boat in the water.
Yeah. That's hilarious too, because I work at a coal mine, and if I had $1 for every time I heard that phrase, I'd be retired. Gotta go put the boat in the water. So anyways, in Dr. Robotnik's investigation, I need to back up a little bit. Sonic, I lost track of where I was at.
All right.
So Sonic is, go ahead, jump in there.
All right. So, we're shown the military, and he sends out his drones. He sends out his egg drones from the truck to go and scan the area for anything abnormal.
Yeah, out of the ordinary.
And they find Sonic's footprints, and they find his hideout. They find his. Sorry, I'm talking to the side. Sorry. They find his cave, and they sort of flush him out of it because he's freaking out. He's like, I'm caught. They found me. They know what I did. They know I'm here. I gotta go. So he makes a run for it. He grabs all of his stuff, and he doesn't know where else to go, so he goes to Tom's house.
Yeah, Donut Lord.
The Donut Lord, which they call him Donut Lord, by the way, because in Tom's off time, he sets up his donuts as little guys, and he talks to them. And so that's why Sonic calls him Donut Lord. He eats them if they get out of line.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't know where else to go, so he goes to Tom's house, into his garage, to sort of, just as a safe haven so he can get out of there, because he's going to go to this mushroom planet now that he's been discovered. Meanwhile, Tom, he hears a ruckus, and Tom has a problem with raccoons. It's established earlier that raccoons like to rummage around in the garage, so he thinks it's a raccoon. So he goes out to the garage to, he says he takes his wife Maddie's tranquilizer gun. She's a veterinarian. He takes her tranquilizer gun, and he says he's going to go shoot him. And she's like, don't hurt him. He's like, I'm not going to hurt him. I'm just going to scare him. Maybe to death. But he goes out there, and he finds Sonic. And, they do that thing where the human character sees the non-human character, and they both yell.
It's kind of a panic.
They got the joke from the trailer, the meow.
Yeah.
Everyone tore that to shreds.
Yeah,
I think it's a funny joke.
It is a funny joke. I think it's a funny joke. It is funny. It hits.
But in the panic, Tom shoots Sonic in the leg with his tranquilizer gun.
And I just want to jump in here. This is the almost like MacGuffin plot thickening scene. Yeah.
This is what really sets the plot in motion.
Yeah.
Sonic, he's about to throw his ring to go to the mushroom planet, but in the tranquilized daze, he sees San Francisco on Tom's shirt, because San Francisco is where Tom is supposed to be transferring,
right?
From being the sheriff of this Montana town to being a member of the San Francisco Police Department, pending a background check. Shout out background checks.
Shout out background checks.
And so he sees his shirt, and he's like, San Francisco. And the ring takes that as that's where he wants it to go. So a portal opens on the ground to San Francisco, and Sonic passes out in front of it, and he drops his entire bag of rings into the portal, and it lands on the top of a very large building in San Francisco. What's the name of that?
So I'm just now reading that is the Transamerica Pyramid building.
Yes.
I did not know Transamerica owned that. That's who does my 401k for work. But yeah,
some hunter lore for you.
Yeah, it lands on that big giant pyramid building. And then Tom takes Sonic into the house and is checking him out, examining him, and he says to himself, "This must be Crazy Carl's Blue Devil." When Sonic wakes up, he's a little out of it still. He crawls out. That was funny too, where like Tom has him locked in the cage and he just like reaches right through it.
Opens it.
Must not have seen the posable thumbs he had.
With his giant white gloves.
And so they finally like start to have a discussion, and introduce themselves to each other. But at this point they can't really talk because Robotnik's huge evil Mack truck arrives. I think we both simultaneously had indigestion right there. Forgive us. So Dr. Robotnik pulls up. He walks up and he's examining a footprint, I believe, out in the front yard or something.
Yeah.
And Tom comes out and kind of... he doesn't tell him to get off his property, but he's basically like, can I help you?
Yeah.
So they have a conversation, and Tom, he's trying to get Dr. Robotnik to get out of there because Sonic... I do believe Sonic convinced Tom to kind of have his back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought just kind of reflected on Tom's character as...
always wanted to help people.
Yeah. And that's established really early on.
Yeah. That's the entire reason he wants to go to San Francisco to be a real cop.
Right.
So I put that in quotes. Is so that he can help more people than he does in this small
on a larger
town.
Scale.
Yeah.
And but that's established right off the bat as another reason why Sonic kind of went to him. Went to his place because he just knows that he's like the guy that everybody goes to in town.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in this discussion, Dr. Robotnik, what gives off the red flag that he realizes Sonic's in there?
Sonic jumps out at him.
Right there in the doorway? Was that... No, he rolled down the stairs like a ball.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So
I got ahead of myself.
Sonic's found out. Robotnik runs in there. He's saying that he's got to take him. And right whenever Robotnik's about to take Sonic, Tom punches Dr. Robotnik, knocks him out cold. At this point, one of Dr. Robotnik's drones comes in and it goes into battle mode and starts lighting up Tom's house with like machine gun turrets. And Tom and Sonic are running around trying to get out of there. They are able to escape, which I thought was kind of hilarious because Dr. Robotnik is like, this evil genius, got like the best tech ever made. And then this like sheriff from Mannington, West Virginia, and like this drugged out animal are able to get away.
Well, I mean, they did not. Well, he controls all the drones with his little. I love his little gloves, by the way.
Yeah,
I love the way they have him control the drones. But I guess if he's knocked out, he can't really do much with his drones.
Well, I mean, they were still like it was still doing its thing though. Like trying. I guess you're right. Well, though,
Sonic got up on top of it and started beating on it.
I guess you're right though. Like. You think about like a Roomba that you put down to like run the vacuum. Half the time it just like bumps into the same corner the whole time. So, anyways, they escape.
Shout out Clarence.
Shout out who? Clarence?
Clarence, that's our Roomba.
Is that what you named it?
His name's Clarence, yeah.
You never convinced me to buy one of those. Ever. Not even if there's a fire.
I got it for Mom for Christmas.
Well, as long as she's happy.
Yeah. No, he's super helpful.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys get something out of it. So Tom and Sonic are now on the run. That's more product placement, by the way. Toyota. He drives a Toyota Tacoma. And we see it throughout the entire movie.
It's a convertible.
We'll get to that. Chop top. So while they're on the run, Tom and Sonic are having a discussion, and he's asking Sonic to explain himself. And Sonic explains everything to him about what the rings are and why they need to go to San Francisco now to get these rings. And at first, Tom is, not wanting to help Sonic. He's apprehensive. But so Tom finally gives in and decides to help out Sonic, which now that I'm reading it here, I don't know why he just kind of suddenly had the change of heart.
Sonic sort of guilt trips him.
Okay. All right.
He's like, you knocked me out. You're the reason I can't get home now. You're sort of obligated to help me now because it's pretty much your fault.
And at this point, Tom's already talked enough with Sonic to realize, like, he's really not. He's not an alien that's going to destroy the planet or anything like that.
He's just a little guy.
Of course, if you saw Sonic, if I saw Sonic, I'd be like, that guy's adorable.
No, for sure.
Yeah, there's no way he's destroying anything. So at this point, Tom agrees to take Sonic out west to San Francisco. So they're on this trip, and they stop to use the phone. Tom does. And while he's in a phone booth, Sonic looks across the street and sees this bar. It had some really funny name. What was it called? Like Piston Pete's?
It's the Piston Pit.
The Piston Pit, yeah. Mm-hmm. Which honestly looks like a pretty cool place.
It really does.
I would go there.
Be cool. That is the coolest place I've ever... The guy riding the motorcycle in a circle on the side of it.
There's I think is there a monster truck too that drives by?
Yeah, some guy just has a monster truck.
It's got like flames coming out like the exhaust pipes, and it's like kind of like the most over the top fun looking, not... Like, it's not like a general idea of fun, but it's just like this over the top.
It's like what you would think cool is. Like you look at it and you're like, yeah.
So Sonic, he against Tom's better will, he runs into this this Piston Pit bar and this poor disguise. And so Tom realizes that's where he's at, goes in there to find him and finds him. And like what I said, a poor disguise.
Yeah.
And
it's just a cowboy hat and a collared shirt.
So he's trying to get Sonic to leave, and Sonic says that there's this bucket list that he has of things that he wants to complete. No, he doesn't say the bucket list.
No, he just says there's a bunch of stuff I've never been able to do before, and Tom's like, oh, like a bucket list.
Yeah, and that's where the concept of the bucket list comes into play. And so at this point, what's the ultimatum that Sonic gives to Tom, where he wants to convinces Tom to stay at the bar? I can't remember.
I think it's just the fact that Sonic's never had a bucket list. He's like, oh, do you want to? And then he makes it. And he's like, oh, we got so much stuff we got to do, and I'm leaving Earth forever. Yeah, so I'll never get a chance to do it. And Tom's like, ah.
Yeah, and so at this point they start doing all these things on his bucket list, and I guess that bucket list also included start a bar fight. So, which this is a really cool scene.
Yeah, I have in my notes. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Just like start to finish, the entire bar set piece is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just because, you know, the montage of him and Tom having fun and all the shenanigans that ensue with that. And then, of course, the Quicksilver bullet time.
Yeah, so like as the night ventures further in, there's a group of guys that come over to Sonic looking for trouble. And I can't remember specifically why they were frustrated.
Don't like hipsters.
Yeah,
they said we don't like
is.
your kind here.
That's another one of those 2020 references.
Yeah.
Like they don't like hipsters. Mm-hmm. And so Sonic, you know, being the little smart ass he is, kind of mouths off.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Which I love, dude. I love that. Have you ever seen Speed?
I've never seen Speed. No, we've talked about it before.
It's so good. It's one of like.
I think it's funny though that they use the movie Speed.
Yeah,
That's like Sonic's favorite movie.
Of course, he likes the movie Speed.
Yeah.
It's a great 90s action movie. So he smarts off the leader of these assholes, and so they start a fight. This bar fight, though, it begins like normal, but then at one point Sonic uses his super speed to go into what Brett's referring to as bullet time.
I didn't coin that phrase. You keep saying, like, that's just what people call it.
Oh, no, I get what you're saying. It's like Red Dead. Bullet time.
Yeah.
So it's like super
like
slow-mo. Yeah, I've never played any of the Max Payne games. I always heard they were good. So like everything basically comes to a standstill, almost a standstill, while Sonic's running around, rearranging things. He takes like a banner and runs it through a bunch of people's legs, and then like gives some dude an atomic wedgie on like a
eagle statue above a pool table,
and a bunch of other funny stuff. And he finally gets back into position where he was at the beginning, and then all this whole bar fight basically comes to a conclusion when everything ends.
I love that he pushes Tom to the bar and puts a drink in his hand.
Yeah, I like that too. And so after that, the fight's over, and they get out of there. They go to a local motel, and Sonic runs around the room, does a bunch of random stuff. And Tom asks him about the other planet to which he's supposed to go to when he leaves Earth. And Sonic tells him about it. And is starting to talk about Longclaw and wondering if she was wrong, that if he really needs to go from place to place. And I guess while he's pondering, he falls asleep. Tom tucks him in. That's so cute how they word this. He tucks him in.
He does. It's adorable.
And sees that one of the items that's still left unchecked on Sonic's bucket list that he wrote down while they were at the bar is make a real friend. At that moment, the news report features a warning about Tom, who has been declared as a domestic terrorist because of his actions in protecting Sonic from Robotnik and the military. The next day, Robotnik interrogates the people at the bar, including the leader of the jerks that started the fight with Sonic, and finds out that they're heading towards San Francisco. Robotnik is able to locate them, and this is when a really big chase scene takes place. Really good chase scene. I really like this.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really well done.
So Tom's Tacoma that I was talking about was a product placement here, ends up getting dismantled in this scene. But so what was the first piece of mechanism?
The big tank.
Yeah, so like Dr. Robotnik has like this initial giant tank that comes out, and they're able to thwart his giant tank.
Easter egg shout out. Sonic does a spin dash.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Evil tank, and when he does it, it plays the soundbite of like him doing a spin dash from the games as he rolls into it.
I didn't realize that, but I was saying I love like the soundbite of like the collecting the coins and
which
stuff.
It plays that too.
Yes, I did notice that one. I remember when I watched this, I told Alyssa, I was like, that's like top 3 most satisfying sounds in video game history, collecting one of the rings. So then when they do that, a little like inferior part of the tank comes off.
Scooter.
Yeah, the scooter guy. And so they're able to thwart that. And then there's an even small... This is like the...
Is that all you got? No, but thank you for asking.
It's like the collection of like the little women that you take apart, and there's always a smaller one inside.
Yeah, Russian nesting dolls.
Yes. I'm impressed that you know what those are called.
Yeah. I mean, they have like an actual like Russian name, but that's...
Whatever. You sounded smart saying it like that anyway. So they battle these continuously smaller versions of the giant Robotnik tech tank and finally win, but to the detriment of Tom's truck. It basically falls to pieces. They get a bomb attached to his truck. They pull off the side of the road and are trying to get rid of this bomb. And then they finally... How did they get rid of the bomb?
They push it off of a stick onto a rock.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about the Robotnik tech, I just want to talk about how good those look. I was severely impressed with that aspect of the CGI in this movie. I don't know why, but like all of his drones and stuff, they were all mechanical, but they had like this white, like plastic porcelain, like exterior that I thought looked so like
very sleek.
Yeah, like I really feel like I could touch it. Like it had smug.
No.
It looked very smooth.
It felt very grounded in that world.
Yes, it looked real, but at the same time, it looked futuristic. And like I said, like just the animation, the CGI, like it looked like you could still see the smudges on it, dirt flecks, and stuff like that. I thought that looked really, really good. And like I'll probably touch base on this a little bit more at the end, but in general, the CGI in this movie is really, really good. The only times I have issue with it is whenever there is like really intimate interaction between one of the live action characters and Sonic, or vice versa. But you're gonna have that issue.
When they gotta like pick them up. But you're gonna have like
you're
you
gonna
just
have
said
that issue in any movie that relies heavily on live action and CGI together. It's nowhere near like like what the Scooby-Doo movie would be or anything like that. But it's just it still works really well for the most part. So after they get rid of this bomb, they lost my place. They finally make it to San Francisco, where Maddie, Tom's wife, has been staying with her sister.
Yep.
Okay, because Maddie went out ahead of time to try and search for housing in San Francisco. So when they get there, Tom introduces Maddie and her sister Rachel to Sonic. He got knocked out by the bomb.
The bomb put him in pretty bad shape.
So her being a veterinarian, Tom's hoping she can do something for him. So and Maddie's pretty cool, about Sonic. She's not freaking out really. Very good supportive wife.
Yeah, they have a fun scene where he pulls her aside and he's like, "You're taking this very well."
And then Rachel, Maddie's sister, Tom's sister-in-law, just vehemently hates Tom.
That's a good word.
Yeah, I was trying to be impressive. Trying to keep up with you with your Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah.
But she hates Tom and is like constantly accusing him of like being a cheater and like being an asshole. Like it's hilarious because Tom's like the epitome of
most
nice
genuine guy.
So she's freaking out and they end up tying Rachel to a chair because they have to steal her car.
Yeah.
So anyways, lost my place here. Maddie, what does she end up doing to help Sonic here?
She gives him smelling salts.
Okay.
Yep.
And brings Sonic back to comes to. And so at this point, they discuss getting a plan together to go recover Sonic's rings. So that, like I said, they tie up Rachel and steal her car. And then they, Maddie, Tom, and Sonic go to the Transamerica building to try and recover Sonic's rings. And this is a funny scene where they're like going to the elevator and they just stuff Sonic in a duffel bag and he's in there talking to them like while they're waiting on the elevator with other people standing there. And they ask, "Is there a kid? Is your kid in there?" And Tom says, "Not my kid."
Yeah.
Like, there's still a kid in there. But they're able, which is hilarious too, that they can just like make it through like security and all this and just get straight to the roof.
Well,
of the building.
he goes up to the desk and he's like, "Police business, we got a jumper on the roof."
And he's just like from Montana.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny as hell too. So they make it to the roof and they're able to get to the rings. At this moment though, Robotnik shows up. And Robotnik shows up with a new whip.
Yeah.
He is able to... So earlier in the film, something I didn't touch base on in all my incessant rambling.
He's took it from Tom's house. He took a
For
quill.
the synopsis, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever Tom knocked him out, when he comes to leave Tom's house, he takes the quill that Tom had found at the beginning of the film, and he's able to use this quill to. I don't really know how does he manipulate Sonic's energy, or is he able to reproduce it?
He sort of just like plugs the quill into his tech, and so it gives him that same speed.
It's basically like a supercharged battery, that he uses for his tech.
Yep.
So
he has a whole cool dance montage where he figures out how it works.
I thought that was a little cringy.
No, that's like my second favorite scene.
It was funny, but it was just like,
oh, his dance is amazing.
I like the skiing simulator.
And that song?
Like, it's funny.
When he's running from the T-Rex and he ducks his head down and it looks like he bit it off.
Yeah.
Easter egg shout out. When he's going through his playlists, he has a playlist of music by Crush 40. And Sonic fans will recognize Crush 40 as the people who do most of the original songs for mainly the Sonic Adventure games is where their work is most prominently featured. But they're heavily associated with the Sonic series.
Okay.
One of the most famous songs that they've done for Sonic is Escape from the City, which played in City Escape Zone 1 in Sonic Adventure 2. It's a very good song.
I have not played any of those.
It's in like all my playlists.
Any of that music. I'm a big fan of video game music, though, so I'll have to check it out.
I was a little upset that they didn't actually just like use Crush 40 in the movie, but I'm glad that they still got a shout out. Shout out Crush 40.
Shout out Crush 40. Sometimes whenever I have a really rough day at work, I'll come home and like want to relax, so I'll sit on the couch and I'll just play like Resident Evil 7 safe room music.
Yeah, you told me about that.
And it's just like, I feel good now. Like, because if anybody's ever played Resident Evil 7, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, Robotnik shows up and he's, saying, hand over Sonic or I'm going to kill all of you. And Sonic pushes Tom and Maddie off the roof, and then we get another bullet time session where Sonic rearranges like all the missiles that are fired at him and everything. Not knowing, though, that Robotnik is able to catch up with him now by engaging his sonic fuel, or whatever it is, to his, what's it got, like a hovercraft?
Yeah, it's like a little,
It's pretty badass.
Yes, hovercraft is how I would describe it.
Looks like a white Halo Pelican.
Yeah.
I mean, shaped like one, but anyways, so he's able to engage this sonic power and catches up to Sonic, and Sonic almost doesn't catch Maddie and Tom whenever he pushes them off the building. So he's able to catch Maddie and Tom. No, he doesn't catch Maddie and Tom.
He just throws a ring behind them, so it transports them back to Montana.
They go back to Green Hills. And then we're caught back up to the opening image of the movie where Sonic is running through San Francisco with Robotnik hot on his tail shooting at him. So Sonic is like, this is a really cool scene where he's throwing all the rings and like
going through all the different rings. Like the Great Wall of China and
that was another question I had. What like is in my notes? Rings lead to zones from the games. So like, is the Great Wall of China a zone in one of the games?
No. Honestly, in the games, the rings aren't technically known for teleportation. That comes from the fact that to enter, the end goal of a lot of 3D Sonic games is a giant ring. So like you reach the end of the level and it's a giant ring. But it mostly comes from there are some games where to enter the special stages, you jump through a giant ring. That's also a portal. Okay. But no, the Great Wall of China and the pyramids. I mean, there have been desert zones and there have been like stone and like oriental zones, but I wouldn't necessarily call that like an exact reference. Okay. It's just like places in the world to show that,
Yeah, I was just curious, like not if the rings lead to portals to other things in the games. I just meant like in the movie, I was curious if those were supposed to be like Easter eggs to areas in the games.
I mean, they could have been like more like lighter Easter eggs.
Yeah, I didn't know if like the Great Pyramids or the Great Wall of China was places that Sonic had zones in the games. But anyways, Robotnik, does he almost catch Sonic here? Sonic throws one more ring down and goes to Green Hills, Montana. Okay, and then Robotnik shoots him though whenever they go through that last portal. And at this point, Sonic lands in Green Hills, and he's seemingly, and we know he's not dead, but he's down and unconscious. And at this point, Tom comes to his aid and then begins to have like a I don't want to say like a hero talk, but he starts saying things to Robotnik, and take it from there, Brett.
Yeah, he sort of just kind of hypes up Sonic. Robotnik's going on this thing. He's like, why do you all care so much about this little alien? He doesn't belong here.
Which I will say, not to defend Dr. Robotnik, but I mean, we don't know what the hell he is, So I'm not defending him. I'm just saying that most people would probably be like,
well, they got to know him. They know he's not like that.
We know that Tom and Maddie know that that's what he is. But anyways.
And then, Tom gets up and he's like, he has a really good line where he's like, that little alien is more human than you'll ever be.
Yeah, and it's truth. Because the whole movie, Robotnik almost like looks down at he does. He looks down at every human that's around him like they're like gum on the bottom of his shoe.
Yeah. And then, so he's talking about how much, he cares about Sonic. And then he ends off his big speech with like, that little guy, he's more human than you'll ever be. And he's my friend. And so, Sonic hears this and his, Sonic's like on his deathbed. Dude's down for the count. He's like barely has it in him.
Yeah.
But he hears Tom say this and then he gets one of those another emotional energy surges. This time, a good emotion.
I have friends.
I have a friend. He finished that bucket list.
Yeah.
And then he gets his big energy surge where he goes all blue and electric. And he's like, this is my power. You're not getting it. And I'm not leaving Earth. You are.
Yeah.
And he starts just pounding into Robotnik's little he takes his quill back. He takes the energy from his quill back. So Robotnik can't keep up with him anymore.
I thought that was cool too, because that's one thing I remember from like all the boss fights against Robotnik and Sonic is you got to jump up and hit him.
Yes.
You got to jump and hit him.
He does his little, he turns into a ball when he hits him.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was going to say Easter egg shout out. It looks like it's that's how he attacks
But
in the
it works
games.
for the movie too.
No, and it looks great. Very visually stunning. As it always is when Sonic enters his blue electric form.
Yeah.
And so he starts beating up Robotnik's ship, and he signals to Tom to throw one last ring. So Tom throws the portal ring right behind Robotnik's ship. It opens into the mushroom world, and Sonic hits the ship dead on with one last attack, and it sends Robotnik back, flying backwards in a very nice slow-mo, like pan around where you see that where Jim Carrey's doing like a real scared face. It's very funny. And it slams him back into the mushroom world. The portal closes. And then, he's gone. Day is saved. The townspeople kind of rally. We didn't mention it. But the townspeople, like everyone that lives in Green Hills, is sort of there for it.
Yeah,
and they come to back up Sonic. And Crazy Carl has a funny line where he's like, yeah, leave him alone. You can all very clearly see that he is a real thing that I did not make up.
Doesn't he have a chainsaw?
He does, yeah. Crazy Carl comes up with a chainsaw.
And Wade's kind of like, whoa, where did you get that?
He's like, can you put that down?
Yeah.
And then the townspeople are like, all right, everyone. Wade's like, all right, everyone. Blue space alien hedgehog defeated a mad scientist. Don't act like you haven't seen it before. And then everyone sort of goes their separate ways. And we cut. It's not like a huge time jump. It might be like a week or so later. And we cut to Tom and Maddie's house, and the government official guy that we saw in the Pentagon scene.
Yeah, from the Department of Defense.
Yeah, is approaching them, and he thanks them for their help in defeating Robotnik. Like he wasn't the one that
sent in. Yeah,
that sent him. And he bribes them for their silence with a Olive Garden gift card. And he's like, you guys haven't seen Sonic since, have you? And they're like, nope, haven't seen him. We'll probably never see him again.
Yeah.
And then they shut the door on him and they send him away. And then it's revealed that Sonic is just in the house hanging out with them. And they're like, all right, bud, you better get going. You got to go home.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, all right, I'm going home. And he goes to leave. And they're like, where are you going? And he's like, you guys told me I have to go home. And they're like, why don't you come check this out? And they rebuilt his entire cave with all of his stuff in their attic.
In the attic, yeah.
They gave him a bedroom. He's got like a race car bed and, all of his stuff from his already cave, his beanbag chair and all of his signs. And then we end off with a nice pan out the window of them as a nice, happy little family.
Well, first it shows him floss on the bed.
Okay, he flosses on the bed.
He does the floss dance.
He actually flosses twice in the movie.
Big
which
yikes.
is it caught me off guard because in the trailer, like the new trailer that they premiered after they redesigned him, they show that scene where he's like, "Don't you see me dancing? How am I still alive?" And he doesn't floss. He just does like a little spin breakdance move, which means they changed it specifically to make him floss. Yeah. Which just is weird to me. I don't know why they did that.
Product of 2020.
Yeah, flossing was big at the time. But then, we get some fake out credits, a little title card thing.
Yeah,
and then we get our
credit scene.
We get our little stinger. We get 2 end credit scenes. One's not really an end credit scene. It's just kind of like after the fade to black.
Right.
So it might as well just be part of the movie. But it cuts to a time jump of Robotnik on the Mushroom Planet, sporting a much more game accurate look this time. He's got his crazy mustache.
His mustache, his ridiculous mustache looks good. It
looks great, and they even gave him
it honestly looks kind of real.
They gave him like sunburn on his nose to replicate Robotnik's discolored nose.
Yeah.
And he reveals his plan to us that he's coming back. He says, "No viable life, no resources. A lesser man would die here.
I'll be home by Christmas."
And he holds up, and he still has Sonic's quill.
Yeah.
And he says, "I'll be home by Christmas," like Hunter just said.
Yeah.
And then we get our awesome end credit scene with that awesome song by, I don't remember who did it. It's some rapper.
I'm not sure.
It
was a good song.
It's really good. It's called "Speed Me Up." It's on my playlist. I just don't remember who did it. Might have been Kendrick Lamar. Don't quote me on that. But we get the 16-bit credits of using sprites from the games.
I like that too,
which was awesome to see. They basically replay the entire movie just in 16-bit in these credits, and then we get our end credit scene, which sets us up for the sequel, where we got our boy Tails. He comes through a ring and he's like, "I found him.
Yeah.
I just hope I'm not too late." And that actually is the voice actress from the games. They kept her.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
She gets to stay as Tails. She's also still doing it in Sonic 2. Her name's Colleen something. She's great. Shout out Colleen something. And then that's Sonic. That is Sonic the Hedgehog. I gotta stop talking to the side of the mic. I'm sorry.
No, you sounded really good that time. I feel like I put my mic too high up and I needed it angled down more. So anyways, so that was Sonic, and like I said, I was not extremely surprised. I was slightly surprised, though. I knew it was going to be pretty good because, like I said, I don't remember any critics panning it or anything or hating on it too bad, but I still didn't go in with like real high expectations. But I enjoyed it. I thought that all the characters were great. They were represented well from what I know from the games anyway. Ben Schwartz, he sounds just like what I would think Sonic would sound like. Like I said, I haven't played any of the newer games where he was even voiced. So, but just the charisma.
You don't want to.
Okay. It wasn't on my bucket list. We'll leave it at that. But he sounds great, and James Marsden and Jim Carrey, they're kind of like the only characters that really matter. But they're both great too. Mm-hmm. One of the only things that I would have as a flaw with them is that they play character archetypes, but I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here because that's what they were hired for.
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey was hired to play the over-the-top villain, and James Marsden was hired to be the, run-of-the-mill, everyday man, good guy, willing to do anything for anybody.
I like that he was a little snarkier than you normally see that kind of character, though. He had a lot. He had some good licks in there.
Yeah, he
just talking to people.
He was funny. He was funny. But like I said, though, no real major issues with that. You want to digress a little bit?
The only thing I would consider like an issue per se isn't really like super an issue because I do love the human characters.
Yeah.
They add a lot to the movie and it just makes it more interesting to have, that kind of variety of cast just to see them all bouncing off of each other. I do kind of wish that we got more time in just like actual Sonic Green Hill Zone because it was beautifully rendered. It looked fantastic, and he's only there for like a minute as like a baby.
That's one of the things I have in my notes right off the bat was this would have made just a great standalone animated movie.
Yeah, and I just kind of also just sort of really don't like the thought that, you know, if you're doing a live action adaptation of like non-human characters, they always just transport them into the human world. Yeah. Which no one seeing a movie about, like, the biggest, it started and should have ended with the Smurfs movie in 2012. Because that's what started the trend. Okay. And it has not gone away.
I've never seen any of the Smurfs movies.
They're not good. Oh, okay. But it's like, if I'm going to go see a movie called The Smurfs, I want to watch the Smurfs hang out in Smurfville. Yeah. Go on adventures in Smurfville. Yeah. I don't want to watch the Smurfs hang out with Neil Patrick Harris in real world New York for 2 hours, you know? And I think this movie handles it better because they take, you know, it's not as big of a deal because Sonic, you know, I mean, his world is a big part of his character, but mostly you just care about Sonic. And since he's done so well, it's sort of, you know, you don't really care as much where he's at as long as you're seeing him do stuff. But I do hope in the sequel we get more game stuff than we did in this one.
More game environment type stuff.
But that's really my only flaw. And like I said, they do the story so well with the human characters that I can't even be too mad at it because I like that they're there. Yeah. So if he hadn't transported, we wouldn't have gotten that.
Like I said, I mean, it's not particularly a negative. I mean, it kind of is just a little bit. But they're the characters they were supposed to play, and they do a good job at it. The animation is really good. Like we spoke at the beginning, Jeff Fowler, you can tell his background's in animation and special effects because 90% of it knocks it out of the park. The only times there's issues is whenever there's interactions with a live action character, but you're going to have that issue anytime you do a film like this. I wrote in my notes lots of product placement, and I know Brett's kind of like conflicting with me a little bit on this. I always think it's funny whenever a film has like a lot of product placement because I feel like that means that they didn't think the movie was going to do particularly well, so they wanted some money in advertisement. But I wonder if there's like a statistic out there on how much revenue they were able to get from like Toyota and Zillow and all those things. Yeah. But that's just a little chintzy negative. Man, there's really not a whole lot to complain about. It's a good movie. Like I said, this is probably the best video game movie adaptation there is, to be totally honest.
I'd say that.
You know, and one of the other things that really works in its favor is it's a kids' movie, and it's kind of difficult for some of these other video game to film adaptations that are more geared towards adult audiences to make a more cohesive, comprehensive film. Because you got to think like something like Resident Evil, the target audience, the people that played the original Resident Evil are all older than me, and at this point, we're looking for a film with a lot more to offer, and a kid's not, you know. Yeah. So like if you make a Sonic movie, it doesn't have to have layer upon layer upon layer. It can have that basic story, basic plot that doesn't need a lot of, like I said, layers, a lot of really intricate dialogue or anything like that.
I would honestly say I just prefer that out of any movie, really.
You know, it's weird. Like there's certain times that you watch a film that you wish it would have held back the reins and had less shit. And then there's other times that you wish... Now, Dune's great, man. Dune's awesome. But you get what I'm saying. There's certain films you would like more from. There's certain ones that you think threw too much at the wall, you know? But I think Sonic just knows what it is and hits a home run portraying it.
Yeah, I knew exactly what it needed to be and do, and it did all of it as well as it could. And I think, you know, it's just really good.
Yeah, I mean, as far as a video game adaptation, maybe that's another thing. You know, like I said, I've never played any of the newer games, but
honestly,
I know the original Sonic. I mean, when did it come out? Like 90?
Yeah, 90,
91 maybe.
Yeah, something like
92?
that. Early 90s.
I mean, regardless, like back then, video games didn't have much stories anyway. Yeah. So you got a lot of room to play with there.
Yeah, and like I was gonna say, I don't even think like you haven't even played most of the games. I don't even think you necessarily have to be a Sonic fan to
Right.
enjoy this movie.
I agree.
And that's what I think a good video game. I think that's where a lot of video game movies falter, is that they're like, a lot of them, like you mentioned Resident Evil. I feel like you need to know way too much about Resident Evil to already watch it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whereas Sonic, anyone who just enjoys fun buddy comedy, movies like that can just jump in and it's just a fun ride.
Yeah. Like I said earlier too, I really like the fact that it is an origin story, but it's not. Mm-hmm. It kind of shows where he's from very briefly at the beginning, and then we're kind of given Tom to get to know Sonic and go through him, and it's really not much of an origin story. So I kind of like that too. It doesn't do like the same like discovering my powers or discover,
Yeah.
I like that. Looking through my notes here, there's really not anything else that I wanted to touch base on. It just knows what it is. It's a good movie. I gave it a 7.75 out of 10. It's almost an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. 9. Well,
don't lie to me. You 9.999999.
9.999999 repeating forever. I'm only not giving it a 10 because I don't want Hunter to flame me for it.
Nah, man, that's all right. It is a good movie. It knows what it is. I'm just going to say it. It's the best video game to movie adaptation I've seen. Yeah, I would strongly suggest it, especially if like somebody has kids.
I'm going to say 10, but just go into that knowing it's a very, very biased 10.
There's nothing wrong with that. We all have our bias. Like I said, I'm sure if I pick the next movie, it'd probably be something I'm biased towards.
Now, after having seen this one, do you think that you will go see Sonic 2 in theaters, or do you think you'll wait for it?
Nah, I'll go to theaters and see it.
Yeah.
Because it takes what has already been established and gives me more to look forward to in a positive way. Like, it already took a good character that's represented by Jim Carrey, made him even more ridiculous with his new look that's more faithful to the game, giving him new tech, and then you got a new characters introduced with Tails and Knuckles, who look great. I've always thought Knuckles was really cool. I don't know if you've ever seen there used to be, on Saturday mornings when I was growing up, there used to be Warner Brothers Kids that would play cartoons like till like 1 o'clock p.m. in the morning on Saturdays. And there was a Sonic anime called, man, what was it called? I want to say it was called Sonic Go or something like that, or I don't know. It was like an anime. But I remember watching it and Knuckles was in it, and I was always like, man, that guy's a badass.
Is it Sonic X?
Sonic X? That sounds like
Did it have a human kid in it named like Chris?
Was he anime?
Yeah.
Yes. That's gotta be
yep,
it.
Sonic X.
Okay, so I remember watching that and I really liked that as a kid. But Knuckles getting introduced in this movie coming out, like I'm anticipating that. So yeah, I'll definitely see it in theaters.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll get together and go watch it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anything else you want to say about it?
No, man. I think I pretty much said everything I need to say about it.
All right.
Good movie. I would strongly suggest it.
As would I, obviously.
All right. Well, I guess with that said, Brett, we'll get another movie on deck here, and we'll come back and give you guys another review.
All righty then. This has been The Real Rendezvous. I'm Brett. That's Hunter. Hunter, say hi.
I'm going to say bye.
Oh, right. My bad. Hunter, say bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you next time.